Today's notes are Objective 1.4b, multi-step literal equations. So yesterday's notes were levels 1 and 2, which are two-step literal equations. These equations will have multiple steps, more than two, but we are following the same steps. So grab your highlighter. We are going to highlight the variable you need to isolate, the one that it says to solve for. Follow the same steps for solving equations. Start with terms that are farthest away or most separated from the highlighted variable. Work your way closer to that variable, removing the terms around it so that you will have eventually that variable by itself. Remember your inverse operations. If you multiply or divide, you must do it to all terms on the other side, which may require distributing. So refer to your notes from yesterday if you cannot remember what that's talking about. Number 1, solve for A. So I'm going to highlight A just to remind myself that that is the variable I'm trying to isolate. So we're going to start with the term farthest away from A, which is negative 4b. So inverse operation would be add 4b. We must do it to both sides. So now on the left we have x plus 4b equals negative 3 minus a. Highlight A. The next term we need to get rid of is negative 3, inverse operation, plus 3. We still can't combine terms on the left, so now this becomes x plus 4b plus 3 equals negative a. I'm still not done because there's that negative sign in front of a. Remember that it's a negative 1. So to get rid of it, we would divide by negative 1. My final answer will be, now you could leave it like that. That would be acceptable to me. X plus 4b plus 3 divided by negative 1. Or when it's negative 1, we're just going to divide each term. So when we do that, all it does is change the sign of each term. Because when you divide any number or term by negative 1, you're just changing the sign. So x becomes negative x, 4b becomes minus 4b, plus 3 becomes minus 3. Equals a. Now a is isolated, so that's my final answer. But like I said, I would also accept x plus 4b plus 3 minus 1, or over negative 1. Number 2, solve for x. So I'm going to highlight x in my equation. So on the left side, we're trying to move everything away from x. The term or number most separated from x would be that 5. So since x is being divided by 5, the inverse operation is to multiply by 5. And when I have an expression on the other side, I need to multiply that entire expression by 5. On the left side, this will cancel out. 4x equals 5 times negative p minus 2n. Okay, now I am trying to move everything away from x, but I still want this in a simplified, as a simplified equation, so I don't want parentheses. I'm going to distribute this 5. So 4x equals negative 5p minus 10n. So now that that's distributed, I forgot to highlight my variable here. I'm still trying to move everything away from x. Last step will be divide by 4. And I can leave it just like that. X equals negative 5p minus 10n over 4. Once x is by itself, or that variable is by itself, you are done. Number 3, solve for a. So a is right here in the middle. Whoops. So we are trying to move everything away from a, starting with 5, since that is most separated from, or farthest away from. Multiply by 5, just like we did in number 2. So 4ab equals 5 times negative 3n plus 3p. Again, I don't want those parentheses there, so I'm going to distribute. So 4ab equals, I keep forgetting to highlight my variable. 5 times negative 3n is negative 15n. 5 times 3p is positive 15p. And the last step is to divide by 4b. You can divide by both of them at the same time to cancel those out. A equals negative 15n plus 15p over 4b. Okay, number 4, last example for today. Highlight x. We are solving for x. This one's going to be a little bit more complicated, but still following all of the same steps. I think there's just maybe 1 or 2 more steps than the other examples that we've done. So again, what is the term that is most separated from or farthest away from x that's on the same side of the equal sign? That's going to be this y. So y is the first thing I want to get rid of. Subtract y. A minus y equals negative 12x over 5. Okay, the next thing I need to get rid of would be that 5. X is being divided by 5, so I need to multiply by 5. And I don't want these parentheses, so I'm going to distribute now. Actually, let me bring this down to the next step. My target, just to remind myself, is still x. Distribute so that we can get rid of these parentheses. 5a minus 5y equals negative 12x. Last step will be divide by negative 12. So x equals 5a minus 5y over negative 12. So that one I think had 4 steps, where most of the other ones just had 3 steps. So level 3 is not harder than levels 1 and 2. There's just 1 or 2 more steps involved. As long as you understand the steps, you should be able to do level 3 no problem.